Hello, everybody. Here we are. Welcome. It's a brand new season of REBBL, season 14.
It's a brand new day.
We are SteakDora, the Explorers, the Wonder Twins. I am Steakmittens and he is Shadorra.
Oh, I don't get to do my own intro now?
Nope, that's only for the outro, I think. I don't know.
That's fine.
I just had a thing in mind.
I'll just drink juice. This is juice.
Yeah, juice. I had a thing in mind and I was gonna go for it. So that it just kind of came out and I didn't realize that was the standard cue that we normally use. Because, I'm good at this. This is a precap for Div 1 and Div 2A in REL. So it'll be a little bit different than all the rest of the recaps, because I'll be talking about game results and that sort of thing, but that's to be expected. What we're going to do is take a look at sort of everybody's teams and where they came from in REL 1 and 2A, so we can see what the state of everybody's team at the start of the div, because they haven't started yet. We can't look at what the first week's matchups or anything are. But what we will do is come back tomorrow and do a quick prediction and preview of the first week's matchups. So for those of you who haven't seen our recaps before, we've been doing this for a while, mostly in REL 1 and 2A. If you haven't been part of our recaps before, normally the sort of deal is we'll be doing them on Thursdays this year at about this time, plus or minus, 10-20 minutes, depending on real life schedules, because we are fairly, normal human beings with personal lives and work schedules.
You're very convincing right now that we are normal human beings.
I don't know if that's true or not. Last season, what we did is we'd alternate between watching a game one week and looking at teams another week, but we decided that that's probably not the greatest, especially in the high tier divs. The teams don't actually change that much, so we're probably going to be doing just one game from each, one game a week, maybe bouncing back between the two divs or something like that, rather than looking at the teams all the time. But we will be going over match results and then making predictions for the week following.
Okay. Submit your game if you want us to watch it. No more alternating weeks. You message us and I'm like, well, we're not reviewing games this week. We're doing one-ish game a week. So if you have a particularly spicy game and you think it's worth it, or if I feel like punishing Fed for playing slightly later than he normally would, we'll watch those games. So, sometimes we'll watch one, sometimes we'll watch two. If you don't tell us, we're just going to pick randomly, and sometimes we're going to watch Chorf's, Pitch Clear, Amazons, and that's just going to be that's your life.
And it's your fault for not telling us that it was interesting. When we say interesting, it doesn't have to be it could be a great display of Blood Bowl skill, or it could just be something where a bunch of random funny stuff happened, or maybe a game that was just important for the standings, stuff like that.
Sometimes it's going to be Dwarves versus Khemri in the rain, and that's just,
That was so unexciting. I saw Dwarves versus Khemri in the rain and was really happy. I thought it was going to be super funny, and then nothing happened. Lastly, we will be trying to get you guys involved in our tipping competition this season. Traditionally, we've kind of gone back and forth. We tip against each other, predict the matchups for each week, keep track of the scores, and then at the end of the season, whoever has the better score gets to be Wonder Twin A for the next season. Shadorra won last season, so he is Wonder Twin A now, and I am back to Wonder Twin B. But I have made a spreadsheet, and once the matches get released after the div starts, I'll try to populate it. And you guys can, if you've paid attention to the podcast and the REBBL Top 40, you can do sort of a similar procedure where you can copy the template sheet and then fill it out as we go through the weeks, and you can compete against us, and I'll have a little leaderboard and stuff that you're welcome to participate in if you'd like. I don't know, it's a good question. If one of them beats us, do we get to give them a thing? It could be Wonder Twin C for the next season.
Yeah, sure. The person who wins gets to be Wonder Twin C. Other than that, no, you just get the pride of being better at predicting games than these two buffoons.
And I'm normally bad at it, so it's just not terribly difficult. But now that we've done the sort of preamble thing, do we want to get into this?
Sure. Do we want to show them the sheet, or are we just gonna leave it up to fate?
I mean, I can show people things if they want. It's not a real exciting thing yet because I haven't actually finished it. But I can bring it up on the screen if people want to see. So I made a little Google Doc, and ideally what people will be doing is going to this template, change owner name to your name. Well, first you want to copy it, so template, and then you duplicate, and it'll make a new sheet, such as Shadorra's correctness right here. And then once you've made a duplicate sheet, you can rename it. You can change your owner name up here to whatever your coach name is, or whatever name you want to be gone by. And then you can also protect said sheet by going and right-clicking on it, and you press protect, and then you can choose to deny access to everyone else so other people can't screw around with your predictions if you'd like. And I'll be using like the owner name up here to try to make a little scoreboard sheet, which nothing has happened with yet. But I'll be messing around with that, and I'll fill in these actual schedules once we know what they are. This will require you to have a some sort of Google account, right? Because you'll be able to, if you want to lock your sheet and stop people from messing around with it. But feel free to make a throwaway one if you don't want to use like your real one or whatever, coach whatever. You can also just not lock it, and I'm not going to be policing this too hard, but I can see when people make edits to things, so don't be a cheaty McCheaterson, because all you're doing is cheating yourself.
I mean, if you cheat at a meaningless tipping competition for your division, you are the whittlest bitch.
Yeah, and I can also see that you're doing it, so I will know that you are the whittlest bitch.
We will have like a little segment on the stream where we have a little dance for the whittlest bitch.
So I'll add these the matchups once we know what they are before the recap tomorrow. And I can give everybody the link to it tomorrow.
Oh, I mean, if I find out, I will absolutely shame them. I don't know what about my character would suggest that I wouldn't shame them. I
mean, I can also do stuff like lock it. I can, if I have to do things like lock it for editing right before the recap ends and only open it during the recap, I will. I'll just be annoyed that all of you cheating McCheatersons are going to make me do work.
Look, as much as my shame will sting, imagine what it's like to have Steakmittens disappointed in you.
Yeah, I know, right?
God.
It's the worst thing. If you make me click a couple buttons and have to remember to do work on a schedule, I will be very upset. But I can do that, and I will if I have to. Okay, so here is the handy-dandy REBBL.net, and here is Season 14 Div 1 REL. First up, we have Unseen Walker and Ragedorf, Dwarf team.
An old-ass team, this one.
Yeah.
It's been around since... at least season 8. But REBBL.net, I don't know if it goes farther back than that.
It does. You can actually look. It goes back to 1. You can click on season 1 and see it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So pretty old team. Play a lot of games. They're dwarves, but they're great dwarves. They have a lot of stat busts. So there's an armor 7 dwarf. This team is a lot of fun.
It's been rebuilt and destroyed and rebuilt so many times, and it has great names. And Unseen Walker is a fun person, and I'm very sad that I went down when he went up, so we don't get to play. Because
I never played him either, I don't think so.
Every time we've played, we've just hung out in voice and chatted to each other and stuff, and it's been a great time. He's promoting from Div 2 this season, and this is what the team looks like. So we got the 2 Troll Slayers. One is plus strength, but that cost him an armor. But they're both sort of killer Troll Slayers. Mighty Blow on one. The other one is the Mighty Blow piling on.
All Slayers are killers. That's just how Slayers work.
Yes. It's in the name.
Some people take Jugs and stand firm, and those people are idiots. Hot takes. You heard it here first.
Well, he took Jugs and stand firm, but he also has Mighty Blow and piling on.
Yeah, whatever. He got there. He got to the correct answer eventually.
There's the runner for doing the ball carrying, but he's also a little bit of a safety with tackle, which makes sense because there isn't a second runner on the team. Normally, sometimes you see 2 runners. Sometimes you see 2 runners, like an offensive runner and a defensive runner. This one can do a little bit of both with Agi 4, movement 7, block tackle.
Yeah, he's like an armor up wood elf lineman.
Yeah, let's get into that right away. He's an armor-up Wood Elf lineman with sure hands, thick skull, dodge, block, and tackle.
Yeah, took thick skull on a double.
So yeah, he gets to be the offensive dwarf with plus movement, dodge, block, agi, and then defensive, the plus movement and tackle certainly make a difference against speedier teams.
Jugs is actually a good skill, and stand firm. You got stand firm, I think, at the correct point in a Troll Slayer's life. I'm actually just some people will actually build nothing Jugs stand firm, and I don't love that. This is fine. I'm just giving you shit.
A couple blitzers. One is armor busted, but he is guard Mighty Blow
There
tackle.
are so many there are 4 armor busts on this team.
Yep.
What the hell, Unseen Walker?
No, he's taking armor busts. Well,
Armor 9 can't be fake if you don't have it.
Too bad he's not in Div 2 with all the claw, and the armor busts wouldn't have mattered.
Div 1 without 4 Nurgle isn't the same. I don't know what we're gonna do with all this.
50% of Div 1 is Agi. It's weird. There's the two blitzers. One of them is picked up like tackle because he's slightly more mobile. But they're also guard stand firm pieces. Then we got all of the blocker dwarfs. Oh, there is a second runner. He's just at the bottom and injured, and I didn't notice him. So he is a very defensive runner with Russell, strip ball, tackle, Dauntless.
Yeah, I mean, I like the build on him a lot. I don't think you cycle him, but he's not appleable anymore. I don't think that niggle is
scary.
Is heralding the end of his life.
Besides him, you got all the blockers who take the sort of mighty blow guard stand firm in some combination, but he has managed to pick up a couple doubles and has taken diving tackle on them, which I think is going to fare well for him in the div of all the agi that Div 1 is this season.
Yeah, I mean it's unusual for Div 1 to be so agi heavy, but it's nice. And yeah, and there's kind of the two schools of Longbeard or Long Dwarf. No, they are Longbeards. Longbeard doubles of dodge versus diving tackle. So it seems that Unseen Walker is very much in the diving tackle school. I think I am on average as well. So let's do the important dwarf counting. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guard, decent, and many mighty blow. Possibly more. I think there's actually more mighty blow.
It's this team looks a lot better than it has the last time I looked at it. Let's put it that way, despite all the injuries.
I took it to the admins and I said, if I have to spend another season talking about 4 Nurgle teams a week, I'm going to jump off of my balcony. And they were like, all right, you're a valued member of this community. We'll make sure the Nurgle all lose and get demoted. And
you also specifically demanded that since I was getting demoted, that they didn't put me in 2A so that you didn't have to listen to me recap my own team again.
You also hate recapping your own team, but yes, I did make an official request to the admins.
Okay, so let's move on to Superfed, and the Dreams of Golden Streams did very well in playoffs this season, jumping them up to Div 1 from 2, I believe. Yes, but they would have gone
I have my own Nurgle headcanon, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, only 2 of us lost, me and Atomics. Then they split us up and put us in 2 different divs.
How dare they?
I know, right? It's a rat team that has some number of rats.
Some trivial number of rats. 15, 10. It's only 30k bigger than my rat team, which is in Div 3, and it is the smallest team in Div 3 by a significant margin.
Yep. Well, I mean, to be fair, line rats don't really matter.
No, they do, actually. Rats, like, that's fine to say for elves when the elves don't really need to run a bench, but rats kind of need to run a bench. That said, when you're a 15-10 team in Div 1, you just induce your bench, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's what it's for. Any like, all you have to do is induce a loner or like a star player or whatever, and suddenly you have a bench, and you're going to get inducements against most teams.
I think he's going to get inducements against all teams, strictly speaking. But
I don't know. I haven't looked at all the TVs.
That's true.
But we got the killer blitzer without claw, and then we have the other blitzer who does have claw and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually been on a streak of rolling claw first level, as far as I can remember, but they keep getting, dead.
This one is AV busted, which is not dead, but it helps increase.
It's not dead yet.
It decreases his time to death.
Proxy page is just hysterical, though, just like a constant stream of normals.
And then only 1 SPP away from the level on Amy Brooke as well, so we're going to see Claw Mighty Blow in 1 SPP, which should be next game if anything goes correctly.
Wow, yeah, that was a curse if I've ever heard one.
You're welcome, Superfed.
I didn't even have to lay that one out.
You had to, I mean, you're the one who is like, man, got to make sure I get played before all of the recaps happen. So this is my small way of cursing you. I can only do it for 1 game because pre-cap, but we do what we can.
It's got a natty 1-turner. It's got a movement busted Agi 5 recovery piece / general ball carrier. It's got a normal sacker, and it's got a rookie.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the sigh.
And a dirty player lineman.
A niggled dirty player lineman. What a team, Superfed. What a team.
Well, it's like
you'll probably win the div.
It's got like most of the things you care about on a rat team, other than a bench, obviously. There's a killer storm vermin, or there will be a killer storm vermin. 1-turner, good ball carrier / recovery piece, the ball sacking piece, and they're all really close to level too. That Megan Rain is 1 SPP away as well. So you could go for Dauntless if you just roll normals again. But
Yeah, Dauntless. Normally you have a separate one, like a strip one and a Dauntless one, like Wrestle Dauntless Tackle. But given that his other one has died, yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
This is well, kind of. Elves can be kind of murdery to rats because it's hard to protect your positionals against blitzers with like movement 8. But yeah, it's true that broadly speaking, the team should face less attrition.
Okay, so we can look at B-Dog and the Bogue Bombers human team.
This is the first of the teams that I'm not super familiar with. Also, humans in Div 1. Very excited.
Coming from Div 2, so it would have been Div 2B because we didn't recap them last season.
I don't think we've ever recapped B-Dog. If we have, I'm sorry, but I don't recognize it.
And we've been recapping since season 8, so this is what, the 6th season of it. 6 seasons ago, we will have forgotten by then. We just didn't recover 2B last season. So we have a human team. Brand new ogre, it looks like, Fudge, which I'm pretty happy about. It's just an ogre named Fudge.
I like the 2 movement up catchers. That's a hell of a thing to have on the human team.
Yeah, that's very speedy for a human team.
It's got a thrower who insists on rolling normals. I like kick on a thrower. Well, kind of. You don't often run the thrower on defense is my only problem with that. There's just, I mean, he's not bad. I guess like on human teams, he's a lino. He's like a lino with some skills. So I guess he just runs him either way. But
Yep.
It's kind of an interesting way to keep normals relevant on that player.
Yeah, once you've taken kickoff, return, block, fend, that everything else isn't super relevant unless you plan on actually throwing, and accurate is all you can really take for that.
Yeah, he does throw, it seems. We've got a killer human blitzer that's very standard. We've got a kind of support kill one. We've got a true support one and another kind of murder hybrid one. So very developed human blitzers.
Yeah, the blitzers are really nice. I like them. You get the ubiquitous palm one, and then the rest of them can kind of do a little bit of everything. But for the most part, it's sort of guard and dodge. 3 dodge blitzers is pretty crazy.
It's nice. Dodge is the sort of skill that gets better the more you have, for sure. So 5 is a nice kind of baseline where your opponent can't reliably commit their 1 or 2 tackle pieces to hitting the dodge pieces that are based.
I mean, you say 5, but it's a team that has 2 Agi access players.
Yes, I mean 5 is a lot for a team with 2 Agi access for sure.
I mean, it's 3 blodge pieces. 2 of them are blodge firm, which is pretty nice.
Yep. This team would have fared terribly in the Nurgle off that was last year, but I think it'll do better in this one. Humans do well against Agi teams traditionally. They have the speed to keep up and good killing tools. So
yeah, strength
this
access.
Will be interesting
tackle.
to watch. And it's got 4 guard. 4 guard is like acceptable. In a bash match, it's great, obviously, in an Agi off. And I love the strength up wrestle tackle lino.
And they'll likely have 6 pretty soon. Griff Clooney Jr.
Ogre, and
the
you never know
blitzer.
with ogres, but
have 4 SPP away on the ogre and 5 on the killer blitzer, and we could have 2 more guard pieces.
You go jugs on the killer next, not guard.
Yes, very likely. But if we wanted to, we could have 6 very soon.
Yes, I think in particular, they're quite good against Skaven.
And then the 2 catchers, like you said, are both movement 9. They've also picked up block and sidestep, and then one of them has got sprint. So movement 9, or is that sure feet, not sprint? I always mix them up. Sure feet has a little dice in it because you get to reroll things, and that's how that works. But I always mess it up anyway.
So they're not amazing at one turning. They need 2 pushes, which isn't a ton. It's the Agi 3 that becomes the problem there. But
well, with sidestep and sure feet, it becomes a bit easier than like your standard human team, certainly. But it's not like it's a 1-turner, like a natural 1-turner or anything.
A back screen is a pretty reliable way of stopping them. So
yep.
And I like that team though. It's and then surprisingly intact for.
Yeah, there's 2 leveled linemen who have stuck around. Like you said, one is guard, another one is wrestle tackle strength, which is kind of fun. And then the rest are the linemen or the LOS idiots, and we have enough of a bench to be pretty happy with it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Good team.
Super Base 5221, my brand new subscriber, thanks to Shadorra, and the Broken Bone Battalion.
Second of 3 people I'm not super familiar with. I know there was a lot of I kind of saw them coming up through the ranks last season and doing very well. And obviously
I
did very well in
recognize the
playoffs.
name, and I don't remember if that's because I like cast one of their matches one time or if I saw it in like playoffs or something, but I recognize the team name. They came from Div 3 last season, so jumping up to 1 from 3 is a pretty big jump there.
Yep, and they did really well their first season as well, I believe. So yeah, I'm pretty great pro elves. Strength up, blodge, step, guard, tackle piece is an incredibly annoying thing to deal with. And then a kind of more standard normal one.
He's also got fend to be like, they have fend and diving tackle. They have literally every annoying skill.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Long is just a nightmare for a lot of teams to deal with.
Richard Long is just annoyance the player.
Yes.
Like
Silent Sammy looked kind of like he rolled early into things I would normally build into a one-turner, but instead he's a bit of a sacker, he's kind of an all-purpose piece, really, and a blodge, step, tackle, movement 9. He can do a little bit of everything.
Very easy to 2-turn, like with him. Like you don't have to move him very far. Very easy to catch stuff with catch nerves of steel. It's hard to knock down with blodge sidestep. And then on defense, he's movement 9 and tackle. And you can 1-turn with him certainly as well. Movement 9 sidestep.
Biggest takeaway from this team, I would say, is that it's very fair.
Yeah.
Surprisingly fair. Fair elf teams tend to do poorly in Div 1, but this is a different Div 1, so who knows. It will be getting lots of wizards at 1710. It's fairly lean. 1840 most of the time once this thrower comes back. Bench-wise, it's got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So normally it's got 2 bench, which is quite good for pro elves. They, suffer a lot of attrition, but they have fairly cheap elf linemen at only 60k. So
2 guard linemen, by the way, on that 60k. Well, higher than that now, which is nice. A couple extra guard to go along with their annoying blitzers. 1 rookie catcher with A-level fast. Another one is a wrestle catcher, which is nice to have a wrestle as an available option somewhere on the team. And then some idiot line elves as well that are
Movement
cheap
8
and
strength
nice.
3 is good, it turns out.
Yeah, high elf and pro elf catchers are both pretty good.
And now for a very different rat team. I guess not really, because it's currently battered to all hell for reasons.
Yeah, we have Toast Guy, and the Rat Bastards are runner-up in the Super Bowl this season. Toast Guy coming from Div 3, and, no wonder, runner-up in the Super Bowl, you're going to jump all the way up to 1 pretty much no matter where you came from.
Yes. I mean, it's got a lot of really great players. What is now known apparently as the Superfed School of Storm Vermin, which is taking Agi.
Is that why? Is that
you had the Palm Catcher die in the playoffs, right? That was
right. That's probably why I recognize the team name. So I remember that happening.
There were a couple of Palm Elven blitzers and catchers that had a rough time in the playoffs, unsurprisingly. Killer Blitzer is out game 1, and he is already AV busted, so he's already got a target on his back anyway, so gonna have a little bit of a rough first game. Still gonna have
on his back.
The normal Palmer. Movement bust on the Dauntless Strip Sacker. Do you recycle that? I'd consider recycling that. I don't like Dauntless Strip in general. I think Dauntless Tackle is the way to go, and where you've got 3 other gutter runners that have at least a level, and you don't really have like a natty 1 turn or anything like that, I might consider. I mean, I not even might. I think I straightforwardly would recycle Riggin, the movement and AV busted one.
Yeah,
so.
The AV6 is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean at this point, there's just like not a lot of utility
Although
left. You're gonna level John Oliver pretty soon to have a backup wrestle strip piece. So
there's an argument like wrestle means he's going to take potentially fewer
like
armor breaks, but he's also going to take more fouls if he's on the floor. But yeah, it's the money is certainly a problem. The killer, I mean, is great. We kind of glossed over that a little bit, but he's got both the doubles you want in the claw and jump up. Which is kind of fun, but he's going to have a huge target on him with armor 7 and being that good. Yeah, the Leap Agi Gutter Runner is a very nice piece. Leap taking him where he wants, along with guard. Leap on a 2+ and then guard plus sidestep. Leap Agi.
Yeah, it can be nice for hitting the ball for sure. And then the strength up one is obviously disgusting as well. It's a good. He wanted it to be a recovery piece with a big hand, which makes the strength a bit awkward, of course. But I mean, you never pass up strength on a gutter, so I get it. Yeah,
and we got two really good gutter runners for that. It doesn't have the natural 1-turner, but
Not all rats do.
Unfortunately. I mean...
It does have a niggled dirty player, which seems to be the way things are done.
Well, any other niggled line rat just gets fired unless you need it for the bench.
Yeah, no, I
And if he has a dirty player, you might as well keep him around. Guard linemen
keep the niggled kick. I don't know about a niggled guard, but I'd keep a niggled kick as well because kick is just so important for rats. Moving on.
Yeah.
Grunty Desserts and old face. Stouticus has been hanging out in our recapped divs for 3 in a row now, I think. Something like that.
We moved up with the team. Like he moved to, like, we recapped him, and then he moved to REL 1, and then they moved us to recapping REL 1, and then we stayed recapping REL 1, and he's stayed in REL 1. So, there you go.
There you go. Donut in the Hole, kind of my favorite Pestigore. There were a lot of choices for favorite Pestigore last season, but I do really love the bird, or the one that is exactly like Bird, but not named Bird. Don't hold the Movement 8 Frenzy Juggernaut Pestigore is hilarious, and
he's very speedy.
He's a fast boy. Very hard to evade.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a pretty standard Nurgle team.
He has a pretty good shot of reaching Legend this season. I mean, it's not like guaranteed because you're not going to get necessarily a ton of SPP if he's surfing all the time, but he's not that far away. And
you could finally get Stand Firm at Legend.
That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, rip apple pies. He's gone. Finally.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I also fired my player who was identical to all apple pies, exactly the same skills, and also strength 2, and we both fired them at the same time. So back to the top. I mean, we've got the Beast of Nurgle, who's kind of rolled all the normals, and there isn't really anything else you care about, so you just sort of pray you get doubles. And then 4 Nurgle Warriors, 2 of them are movement busted, but they're all 3 of them are the standard Block Guard, Mighty Blow, Claw Tackle, Stand Firm in some order players. Although we do have one extra special one in Angry Churro, who is Strength and Tentacles and Stand Firm. So he's like, I want to say a mini beast, but he's the same as a beast, just slow now.
Slower than a Beast of Nurgle. It's not a good sign.
But he's really good. You get 2 now, which is kind of hilarious, right? 2 Strength 5 Tentacles that are Stand Firm, like super annoying. Along with Disturbing Presence, which are not Foul Appearance, I mean, which kicks off sometimes.
Fell on Black Bagnettes. I remember Black Bagnettes died, not like I know it was last season, or maybe even a little bit before that, but it wasn't that long ago. So Fell on Black Bagnettes has managed to level up quite quickly.
It's a bit easier to level them when you can like have the other solid ones. Like it's very difficult to take 4 Nurgle Warriors from rookies to like a good state. It's a bit easier to take 1 rookie when you have 3 good other ones, just because you can kind of shelter him and give him the blocks that you need or can that are safe, and that kind of thing. There's also the argument that, if you're greedy, you end up taking all the hits with the good Nurgle Warriors, and he doesn't get SPP, but it's like safer to do it, I think. Then the rookie Pestigore to replace all apple pies is Tart-Shaped Box.
But I'm not seeing him in the previous scroll, so maybe I'm misremembering that. Who even knows?
We've got Yellow Lead Brownie, the ball carrier, who's got all of the skills you want. My team and Stouticus's team are basically like mine. I have so many similar players, but his are just better because he has more of them. Like I have exactly Yellow Lead Brownie, except I don't have Big Hand yet, but I have everything else.
What's funny about Yellow Lead Brownie to me is that during the 100th podcast, there was a question about who had the most SPP, and the answer was Stroik, which I think was
300, 400. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Was it Lumi's old rat?
No,
I forget
it's Gouty. Gouty's rat.
Gouty's rat.
Gouty's current
the other
rat.
famous rat. Yes, Gouty is still playing rats somehow. And I think I'd picked Tunare. Not for Science's 1-turner. I knew it was wrong, but I was like, it's going to be like maybe pretty close. I think Tunari has something like 225. Yellow Lead Brownie has more SPP than the natural 1-turner. Just shows you how like consistently Nurgle like can only score on 1 player.
Yeah, so often you end up in that like, well, turn 8, time to dodge and score. Maybe if I'm lucky thing.
Oh, you replace Black Hole, right?
Very infrequently do you have the luxury to like hand off to someone else and get them to score or whatever. Because like once it's in your hands and you've made your way to the end zone, you just want to leave it there. And then Outsouffled is a new safety Pestigore, wrestle dodge, so he'll want to pick up tackle at some point. And then a bunch of Rotters, big old bench, nice to have, especially last season when there was a ton of kill teams. Like, you just want the all the rotters in the world. One of them is Dirty Player, which is good, and the rest are idiots, and who cares? Because
Yeah,
they're
you're going to be
rotters.
doing a lot of fouling this season, I suspect, Staticus, as you watch the ball walk away from you.
2070 TV. Big team. We have Big Chuck and the Clicheos, one of the other punchy teams in this div. Big Chuck coming from Div 2, recapped last season, so it was 2A.
Yeah, he made it to the playoffs, I think. I wonder what happened.
Currently at 2070 TV somehow. Chaos teams always surprise me with like how expensive they are for what they look like.
Well, you look at them and you're like, nothing is really you're like, this is like a team. It's got some stuff, and yeah, you look at the TV and you're like, oh, it's 2000.
Well, and then you remember they start with literally 0 skills, right? You look at most teams and see like a couple skills, and you just mentally remove them from the TV because most players start with skills, but Chaos Beastmen have horns and Warriors have nothing. So like any skill is you end up with a lot.
Turns out 5-4-3-9 is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. I
so
wish.
Much shade for Chuck.
I wish I had.
Did you remember, by the way, that you cast this game like you know what happened in the playoffs?
What,
or
me?
You totally spaced out. Yes, you.
Oh no, I forgot. I forget everything I do about 30 seconds after it happens. I don't remember anything that I've done recently.
I played Chuck in the playoffs. It was rounds of 64. You cast it.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
Okay,
yes,
good.
I remember casting it. I don't remember the details of the game, but
you're lucky you're pretty.
I don't think that's true either.
All right, Bone to Pick is finally a real killer. He's been a kind of weird, like, plus movement sort of killer for a while. Yeah, the Warriors on the bottom bit. I mean, Mongoose, if you think this is bad, we haven't gotten to Travel Scrabble yet. He's in here, right?
Yeah.
No, did I get that? Oh,
yeah.
He was in here. Good.
Yeah, Bone
I
to Pick.
Don't. I remember I didn't actually check that he didn't re-roll after some playoffs shenanigans. So.
No, if it was super biased, I'm sorry about that. But but Shadorra. That didn't mean to.
He's known me since high school. It's really only.
I didn't mean it to be.
Now you made him sad, Chuck.
But Bone to Pick.
Chuck, why? Look at him. He's crying. He's too tender for your jokes.
I'm just a thin-skinned little boy. Okay, can I talk about the team now, or
I don't know. Whatever, probably.
Yes. Bone to Pick is the start of the sort of killer pest, Mighty Blow, Tackle, Claw, plus movement, block. He'll want Piling On, but he's not getting that until Legend, because plus movement and Beastmen have no skills. Stupid Does is a secondary one, but he's got the like Piling On, Mighty Blow, Tackle to start with, so he's going to be better against the Armor 7 pieces, and then you have the Claw one, will be better against the higher armor pieces. Busy as a Bee is the support Beastman. You've got a Sacker, Wrestle, dodge 2 heads on Twist of Fate, which is fun. Probably want to get Tackle as well. Kill him.
Yeah, I mean Tackle will be next.
Yeah.
Some people go. Yeah, I like this order actually. Once you have dodge already, because you can do some kind of crazier stuff with it.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. If you didn't have dodge already, like I think the second level would have been Tackle. But since you got dodge, you just want to go for 2 heads immediately. If you don't get like Agi, of course. Kill him with kindness.
Oh, ooh, I smell a rat is yeah, I killed that warrior. So that's what's going on there.
That's some shade. And we've got a Wrestle Dirty Player. I mean, he's Dirty Player, and then you level him again. You just take Wrestle because there's no other good option, really. New Ball Carrier, read between the lines, Sure Hands and Strength, which is great. It seems a bit weird for now, but he's going to be, once he gets block, and then ideally, if you're lucky, dodge, he's going to be very annoying to knock down, especially if you're in that situation where you have to potato, or you're like me and you do anyway. Because he'll be more difficult to knock down with the Strength 4, and he's going to have a very easy time blitzing his way through stuff with Strength 5 on a blitz if he's got to blitz his way out of the trap.
It's a great piece. Obviously less effective versus lightning bolts, but other than that, and especially once he has block, is going to be a real menace. Strength up ball carriers are tough to deal with.
And then Warriors. One is the same thing as the Nurgle Warrior standard package. And then the second one is also the Strength Tentacles piece, which is super fun. I love those pieces.
Niggled, dead meat. I remember trying to target the niggle because tentacles is very annoying for rats, and
Yes.
didn't quite get there. I think I actually removed it once, but it, apples are a thing.
Bad Egg is also on his way, but Armor Busted and I Smell a Rat, as we mentioned, is the new one because
so a
you
bit
killed
of a
his old
development
one.
season for Chuck, which is going to be awkward in Div 1, but actually not as awkward as it normally would be in Div 1. So hopefully I Smell a Rat can pick up some SPP in his first couple of games. And,
I mean, he's got a lot of good stuff. There's just a couple. There's like he wants a couple levels, like block Mighty Blow or whatever on I Smell, or block guard on I Smell a Rat, and he wants like block on Read Between the Lines, and then he's pretty happy with how the team is, I think.
And he's got a good bench. He's got 3 bench? It's a good place to be in for Chaos. You don't want to go too heavy on a bench because they're so expensive. 60k is quite a bit for a bash team, but yeah, I mean, it's a good team.
We have Travel Scrabble, Scooby, and the gang staying in Div 1 from last season. However, they are slightly...
They finally paid some taxes.
Yes. Well, not like Flesh Golem taxes, because, the Flesh Golem is still there, but they paid white taxes.
LEB is rating.
Hello. I hope your recap went well, or pre-cap. We're doing ours now. Welcome along, folks.
I watched it earlier, and then I think her and Finn's played a grudge match or something.
Oh, well, she played him in clan. That was fun. I made that happen. That worked out well. Top Cat. Wait,
Top Cat is dead, I assume.
He's still at the top of the list there. I thought he was.
Yeah,
dead.
I mean, because it's Travel Scrabble, and Travel Scrabble is a hashtag mad lad, I wouldn't be surprised if he kept Top Cat around for a little bit. Oof, that stings though. 50k of total bloat.
Yep, that's a plus strength minus strength niggle. Yeah. That's a little rough, but I mean, if you get rid of him, you have a rookie white and minor 49er who's, he's okay, but he's not like the Mighty Blow Juggernaut agi piece that Top Cat is.
I mean, he's almost as good as Top Cat at 100k less.
I mean, yeah, that's true. He doesn't have Juggernaut is basically what it is, and he doesn't have agi.
He doesn't have Juggernaut, he doesn't have agi, but whites don't often need both.
That's
true. Those things, or often don't need either of those things. I should say.
Probably worth getting rid of Top Cat at some point in the near future. Once he has the money, of course. He only has 50k, so we can't exactly replace him.
You
right
say
now.
People forget strength downs. We cast the Sage versus Not for Science in the playoffs, and before the game, we were like, Not for Science is keeping his strength 2 kicker. I bet you Sage forgets over and over again. And what actually happened is that Steak and I forgot over and over again.
And Sage never forgot it.
Just ignored it and was like, oh, I can have a base cage on this strength 2 kicker because what's he going to do? And he was right. So,
he never forgot, and we did every time.
Not everyone, playoff coaches don't forget.
No, well, certainly the Sage doesn't. We definitely do. Bunch of zombies, couple dirty player. We got one block one. We got one guard block one. And we've got one block one down here. And we have Flim Flam, who is the greatest zombie in the history of the universe. And you will know why if you watch the playoffs.
Yeah, he's a one-man army. Wasn't enough, but he tried his best.
Wesley Pipes is the one and only Flesh Golem.
Muttley Jr., let me know he's right here, so he's not dead. You're thinking that Muttley 3 took a movement bust.
Oops, I didn't mean to back all the way out.
The Killer Wolf is still fine. And the Agi Wolf is movement busted, which is unfortunate, but it's not a death sentence for an Agi 5 Wolf.
No, the Agi 5 Wolf is still incredible, and he's often going to be what can win. Like Travel Scrabble can pull games out of nowhere with that Agi 5 Leap Wolf.
I'm annoyed he's not in chat. He usually is. I want to ask him about Top Cat. I bet he's keeping it.
Wesley Pipes is the one and the only Flesh Golem this team has. He doesn't buy a second one because the second one is a rookie Flesh Golem is not going to be particularly useful, especially last season when the whole div was filled with Nurgle. I think it's even less useful when the whole div is filled with elves. Yeah, that's very true. So he's not going to be particularly useful. He's going to be slow to level, and he's just going to add more TV to the team. And then we have Muttley the 3, which we've talked about, who's great. And then Muttley Jr. is the more killy werewolf legend with Strength 4, Mighty Blow, Tackle, Sidestep, etc. So, it's the very positional heavy Necro team in that, there are 3 positionals that do everything, and it's what you got. But sometimes that happens to Necro. Did very well last season, went pretty far in the playoffs, and sticking around in Div 1. Acropolis, Dazed and Confused, Nurgle team. The other coach that we're not super familiar with.
Yeah, this is the third coach I'm not familiar with.
Coming from Div 2, Dazed and Confused, we got some Nurgle. A little bit less exciting than Stouticus's Nurgle. So if this was last season,
former best team in REBBL. Ooh.
I
did.
You'd
right,
had a bad
there was
time.
that thing. I forgot about that.
I had that for one game and didn't know about it until after it happened. Like when I think it was Dwiggy who went through like the whole chain and like posted about it, and he's like, and this team had it. I was like, wait, what? It was because like I think I beat Agrain or something like that one time, and then I lost my next game, and Agrain had it.
What is the qualifying
it was
characteristic of the best team in REBBL?
The like joke was that Jimmy Fantastic's team was named the best team in REBBL, and then he lost to Archangel in the playoffs last season or 2 seasons.
Oh, and then it just spread through REL.
Yeah, and then whichever team had beaten the previous best team in REBBL. So like Archangel was the best team in REBBL, and then someone beat Archangel, and they became the best team in REBBL. And it just whoever beats the previous title holder has gone through.
Fun.
So I had it for exactly one match, which was kind of fun.
So yeah, this is a whittle Nurgle team. I mean it's down 190 TV, but
I mean this is probably not as like this would have been rivaled to my Nurgle team last season for like a not great Nurgle team in Div 1. Frankly.
Well, yours was very tall. This one is fairly wide. Like its development, other than this one Nurgle warrior, is pretty spread out, and this one Nurgle warrior is about to get block.
Yeah, and it's very close to leveling on a lot of players. The Nurgle warrior, the Pestigore, who's Mighty Blow Claw, is 3 away from block.
Yeah, like this would be an amazing Div 4 Nurgle team.
And it should do all right now that there's fewer. Like if he had to play 4 Nurgle teams like he would have last season, it would have been kind of annoying.
It would have been tough, though. Honestly, I don't see what he does against Agi. The strength up Beast of Nurgle is great. Beast of Nurgles aren't the most reliable in their movement 4. If he's blitzing to try to kill dodge pieces, he has to choose between a blockless Mighty Blow Claw piece, or he has to pick his block tackle Pestigore. So damage is going to be harder to come by, though he is close to leveling Mitch Kramer to at least get block.
And that's a strength 6 beast. Can we talk about the fact that it's a strength 6 Beast of Nurgle that didn't take block? It didn't take block though.
He didn't. Yeah, I mean, on Beast, I think taking strength up on a big guy is an incorrect decision on everything on other than the Beast of Nurgle, where it's kind of like a coin flip.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was going to make that exact argument. I think it's the only big guy where it's probably
and
worth
a tree.
It. Yeah.
Or no, the tree. No, the tree actually it's extra block. Never mind.
The tree wants more block.
I'm thinking about it.
I think it's the only one where it's debatable, and it's fun. Strength 6 tentacles is good, especially against all of the agi pieces that exist in this div.
Yeah, I'm still in the block camp Stouticus, but I think it's a more reasonable.
I would what I would do is I would say live on my stream, I know the correct decision here is to take block, but all of you people in my chat are going to yell at me if I don't take strength, so I'm going to take strength and regret it, because that's what happens to me every time. So that's exactly what would happen if I rolled strength on a Feast of Nurgle.
Mummies is nice, and the fact that they're not loners makes strength up a little bit more attractive, but on a piece that takes so many blocks both on the giving and receiving, I can't. I can't in good conscience not take block.
Strength 6 tentacles will do him well against all the agi if he can get it in good spots this season. Strength 6 tentacles and like a gutter runner is going to be super annoying. But at that point, they probably just uphill you because you don't have block.
Yeah, or I mean, more importantly, if a rat coach lets you get a strength 6 piece of Nurgle on in like an important gutter, then like things have gone horribly wrong.
Well, that's why I said if you can get it in a good place. Then there's the 4 Nurgle Warriors who are on the way, taking the standard package. Block first, which is a good choice if you want to win games now. And then kind of alternating between Mighty Blow second and Guard second between them, it seems, to get a little bit of both. We said that Pestigore is very close to leveling, and this one is getting close as well. We don't really have a true... we only have 2 Pestigores. We don't really have a ball-carrying one yet. It's probably going to be the next one that we build once we buy a third one, but we're a ways away from that with only 10k cash.
Yeah, I wonder if he lost something recently. Let me see previous.
Guard Rotter and a...
He had another strength up guard Beast of Nurgle that died.
Oh, oof.
Yeah, so he's just printing those out. Yeah, he had Kevin Pickford, an Agi 5 Blodge Sure Hands Pestigore that is dead. So that's where that went. He also had a good kill. Like, this used to be an enormous Nurgle team, I think. Not like the biggest ever, but it was certainly
maybe it cost him a little bit to make it to Div 2 or make it to Div 1.
Yeah, looks that way. He lost a very developed Nurgle warrior. He lost a couple of Pestigoras, including 2 very developed ones. So
then we have Mongoose's Loose and Volcano.
You're gonna do it right.
Well,
is that how we're doing it?
I mean, I'm going to do it right, but I mean, meme away if you wish.
For those not in the know, he got most of the way through the playoffs before people realized that his name was supposed to be Volcano and not Volcanu.
Which, in hindsight, seems dumb because the icon is literally a volcano.
I mean, he did add the E, but I think that is an English language thing.
So we have a Chorf team. We have a
Chorf team.
He had a lot of players get injured last season. They're kind of a pretty punchy Div 1 last season, and he lost a couple of developed Chorfs, which is why we've got a few down here that are now guard. And I mean, some of that was my fault. I will admit that freely. At least one of those developed Chorfs was me. But the other ones that we have left are triple Claw Mighty Blow Chorf blockers, which is pretty nice to have. We got the ball carrying Hobgoblin with plus movement, plus agi, sure hands, fend, block. He's a good carrier, which frees up the Bull Centaurs to do a bit more Bull Centaur-y things. Block, tackle, juggernaut, break, tackle. Block, break, tackle, frenzy, guard. So 2 sort of mobile pieces to do things with.
I just want to point out for the record, when we were starting this, Steak was like, this is going to be a really quick stream. We're only going to talk about the teams. We're nearly an hour in and we haven't finished it. So
no, I said the next one, the one we do tomorrow, is going to be a really quick.
You said this one was also going to be quick.
I don't remember that, but I also don't remember anything I do, as mentioned previously.
I can just gaslight you.
Oh, probably.
Endlessly.
So Mongoose himself, he said he kind of finished mid-table last season. Thinks he got a little bit complacent, relying on the sort of heavy kill that exists on this Chorf team. He's got 3 Claw Mighty Blow players. He felt like he may have relied on that a little bit too much and made him a little bit complacent. So we'll see if he corrects that this season. Expecting it to do pretty well with all that Chorf power. Ramaset and the Voltrex Vanguard High Elf team. Another Agi. Ramaset is staying in Div 1 from last season.
And his team is as busted as I remember it being.
Yeah.
Is this the season of the Fireball? I hope so. If you can get through the entire season Superfed without using a lightning bolt, I will find something to give you. Like that's got to be worth a huge prize. I don't know. We'll talk among the admins. We'll figure it
out. Okay. So we got two rookie high elf blitzers. Nothing there. One is niggled, which is kind of sad. The niggled rookie. I probably want to just buy a new one, but it depends on if you have other things you want to do with the money instead.
That's the problem with high elves is they're incredibly expensive. Like 100 blowing 100k and going down to 20k when you might lose another positional is tough.
Yeah,
I know you hate it, but could it be any more disappointing than your lightning bolts?
Yeah, so he'll definitely. That's absolutely the kind of decision you want to wait to see what your first couple matchups are like. If he's going to be against some people that are likely to hurt his teams the first couple weeks, they'll probably just keep it. But if he's first 3 matches are Skaven, Pro Elves, Humans, or something, he might
all of those teams would beat the shit out of this one.
I picked the first Agi teams that came to my mind.
But that's the thing is this is Div 1, right? Every Agi team has a Mighty Blow. Or most of them had some sort of Mighty Blow tackle piece, and you can totally still lose positionals to those. I mean, Elf Mirrors are often just as killy.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I just picked some Agi teams off the top of my head, but I think you choose based...
Yeah, see, David's even mirroring the same thing.
I have said I agree with you no less than 3 times.
Of course.
I don't know what you want from me other than...
We're going to break you somehow.
You wait to see what your first matches are before you decide if you replace him or not. The thrower has just got normal skills, block, dodge, sure hands. The catchers are where high elf teams tend to be exciting. Well, then this one we've got. So we talked about how movement 8 strength 3 is great. How about movement 8 strength 4 on Kalbrand Starseeker?
I mean, it's good, turns out.
He's also leap. It's not like the Agi 5 leap, but leap strength 4 turns out is pretty good at getting places to hit the ball.
The fact that he went tackle, block, leap proves to you, in the same way that Ellie went through our div and told everyone who had the anti-rock stadium that they were a coward. This proves that Ramesset is a coward for not taking wrestle. This is a sacker with block. You're a coward. No, he also has the sacker with Agi 5, so he's got a good excuse.
So he's got the Agi 5 wrestle option, and he's got the strength 4 leap option. So there's two good options for them. The kick lineman, who's also got like Raj tackle, he's just sort of collecting skills, being I'm too useful to fire, don't get rid of me. It's the lineman scream. And then there's a guard block one who's doing the same thing, and then a couple wrestle pieces. Well, I mean, he would go jugs if he could, but he's an elf.
It's true. I've never seen a division. 3C has something like 2/3 of the coaches have kiosks in it. It's insane.
People are pixel huggy.
Yeah, I mean that's what every time it was a kiosk. They were like pixel hugger.
Luminous and the Gourmet Governors coming up to REL 1 from Div 2. Recapped them last season. They're a little
spoilers. This is who I want to win the div. It's not who I think will win the div, but it's who I want to win the div.
Luminous's games are always fun. I like watching them. I mean, either they go well and you do vampire things, or somehow he ends up with like one player and then you're watching him stream and he's like, no, I can still do this. I can still win this game. Like, you have one player. What is wrong with you?
I like that you're like, somehow the vamps end up with one player, as if it's a fucking mystery.
And it's great. It's super fun to watch. There were like 4 crazy vamps and then a 5th one. And now we are down to 3 crazy vamps and a 4th one. Unfortunately, so he'll be working on leveling up Kim Jong Uni this season, because he lost Justin Trudeau died, I believe, was the previous one. Or no, it was Vladimir.
That's when Justin Trudeau got his evil doppelganger dad beard.
Vladimir Putin was the one I was thinking of, but Justin Trudeau was another one. I just liked the name, which is why I remembered it.
Vladimir Putin was the killer that died. Well, got a strength plus, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but we do have, 2 movement 7 vamps. One of them is strength 5. They've got the block dodge reliability skills along with pro where we can get it. We
were talking about this in the rookie league this week, actually. The value of mass pro as like a 3rd or 4th skill on vampires. 5th in the case of you rolling a stat, as you can see on Dimilsum.
I mean, Lumi almost made playoffs in Div 2 with the vampires last season, and there's only more playoff tickets in Div 1, so...
Yeah, I mean, like, vampires can really struggle in any sort of attrition match that goes
he
long.
did make playoffs, right? I remember
he did make playoffs, and he did pretty well. He got, he had a good time. Pro can be really nice in those games because vampires just tend to implode themselves over time. They consume rerolls, and they cast their own players. So pro kind of reduces the injury rolls your thralls make by 50%. It's not actually that at all, but it's a significant reduction on the rolls your vampires can make, and also the rerolls they consume, because you don't do it for important stuff. But of course, if you're random vampire that you're moving to be part of your screen bloodlust, you're like, okay, well, I can just pro this, because if it's bad, whatever, I'll bite something, and if not,
then I don't have to bite something.
The resources I have to consume.
Yeah, and also for stuff like the arbitrary hypnogazes, like you're going to use a real reroll on a hypnogaze that you need to like break a cage or whatever. But if it's like the end of turn hypnogaze, I'm hypnogazing just because I'm here, not because I need this to happen. Then you can reroll those and sometimes make it a little bit more annoying for your opponents. It's pretty nice. And then, a bunch of blood sacks. So Flying Jacob is the good one that we try not to bite. But he can also keep up with the speedy vampires if we happen to be potatoing and need a blood sack. There's a leader one for a little bit of extra reroll power, and then some wrestles and a lot of blood sacks. But it's a fun team, and I'm really excited to watch Vamps in Div 1.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of cool races and unusual races in Div 1 that I'm just so happy to only have to talk about 2 Nurgle in Div 1.
Yeah. Felwas Kawadadal, not for science. This team.
It's not that stupid anymore.
No, it used to be worse. We still got...
I'm lying. Tenari is 290, so it was actually pretty. I was pretty close, apparently. I thought it was lower for some reason. Yeah, I mean, this team exists and it wins games, and that's all you really need to know about it.
It used to have a lot more unfair players, but it still does have the silly natural one-turner. Tenari, movement 10, sprint sure feet juggernaut is disgusting. The human blitzer in Lord Nathaniel Meyer is super nice against other Agi teams, right? Movement 7, and then Mighty Blow piling on tackle juggernaut is kind of ridiculous for an elf. And on top of that, in Not for Science, is insatiable need to roll doubles. He gets guard on his other blitzer, who's relatively new. Leap, wrestle, tackle, sacker, catcher, like Ramesset has, kind of new catcher, and then a bunch of linemen, ubiquitous sort of Agi 5 piece somewhere. There used to be like a strength 5 frenzy catcher and some other ridiculous pieces.
2 or 3 legends last season.
Yeah, this team lost more legend players last season than most teams have ever had. So I mean, there's just look at this like previous list.
And if you want a preview, if you want a preview of your game against Not for Science,
I killed this one.
Herringzord talked about when you're playing Morka, you just kind of like brace yourself for like a hailstorm of dice, and sometimes you come out okay, and sometimes you don't. Playing Not for Science is very much like that, except he has a natural one-turner, so you just lose more often than you win.
Yeah.
Tenari's out the first game though, so whoever draws that lot will feel really good about themselves until they lose anyway. Random. You're right. It was Random Boy, and it's very appropriate because they have a similar play style.
And then Larkstar, Beard to Death. Larkstar coming from the... Well, I mean, I don't remember what div he was before, but Larkstar was the Challengers Cup champion. Spoilers, but who cares? It's a new season. So Larkstar won the Challengers Cup, getting themselves sent directly to Div 1.
Like you say it like it's a punishment. Earning them a one-way ticket to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Only dead.
Well, it could be depending on how you feel about Div 1.
So
yeah, I agree 3C, okay.
I think Norse are low-key, not low-key.
Loki?
I think Norse.
Nice Norse pun. Quality entertainment.
I want to die. Norse are one of the worst matchups for rats. I think they've got just like so much frenzy and killing power.
Yeah, like Norse are very good at like snowballing stuff, especially if they can get removals going, and
they're fast enough to be annoying. Every piece has block. Like the biggest thing with rats as well is that you can kind of tie up less convenient players without it being too high risk, but when everyone has block and so many of your very important line rats don't, you just end up chewing through line rats because 75% of the time if they get a 2-die they're knocking you down.
Yeah,
with number 7, like they will always have the momentum because they have so much block and they have so many good skills for it that it's really tough for rats to win that.
Yeah, and the fact that like some of their good pieces are like relatively speedy too. Like I said, 6 is not terribly fast, like especially compared to rats, but it's a lot faster than like the 4 and 5 you see very frequently, like Nurgle or Chaos or whatever, where rats can just run away and not really care that they have tackle because they'll just get out of range of you. But that's less true with things like Norse or humans. And yeah, so much block, very easy to get, like Mighty Blow and tackle, along with Frenzy.
Jump up, Frenzy, pile.
Yeah, the Frenzy is also annoying
like,
too.
Get used to that armor break animation. Super fast.
Yeah, so Norse are going to be Norse. They don't win when they just get removed, and rats don't necessarily do that. They can like one player return, but that's not like sort of snowballing against Norse like you kind of would with a more punchy team. But so we got a block Mighty Blow Yeti, which is terrifying because block Yetis are scary. At least for me, as someone who plays teams that have a lot of armor 9. The two Ulfs, one is movement busted, but they're both Mighty Blow block guard. One is stand firm, one is juggernaut. But they've got the skills you kind of care about. And then 2 Mighty Blow piling on blitzers because that's what you take on a blitzer. One of them is also picked up dodge guard and tackle, which is nice. The tackle is really good, and I expect Horseshoe Haze will grab that in 6 SPP as well. You don't always see a runner, especially not one with leap, so that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting piece. Definitely the ball runner and the kind of scoring threat. Just be fouling for send-offs. Yeah, that's the he's safe now.
foul for send-offs in one turn. Like,
yeah, as a mist of rat blood.
I'm gonna one turn, and then whenever I'm not one turning, I'm just fouling until I'll win with one turns, or I'll not have players left.
They're like a super consistent team that is fragile, but only if you're taking blocks, which rats don't really do. They have really good fouling pieces because they're cheap. They take a ton of tackle. They have frenzy. They take a ton of mighty blow. Like, it's just an utter nightmare of a team to face.
Yeah,
and they're pretty fast.
Couple guard linemen. One has got Agi, and then some like tackle and fend and dirty player sprinkled around with the other linemen. So yeah, this team is going to do pretty well against the sort of the rats and the elves, I think. We'll see how they fare against there isn't like a.
I might have gone for sprint. Larkstar, I get it as leap as a kind of fun. It's like a 4+ leap, so it's really a bit on the sketch side. But I might have gone for sprint and just like had him as just kind of like an all-rounder. I don't know.
I'm interested to see how it does against the like chaos dwarves or dwarves, for example. But I think it has a good shot against like every other team in the div. You can kind of bully some of the like chaos or Nurgle, maybe not Static Kisses.
Fend would also have been a credible pick. I think Fend and Sprint are the kind of classic picks, but Larkstar wanted to have fun coin flips.
I like it. I like fun. And he'll do very well against the Agi team, certainly. So shall we move to 2A?
I know, only 2 Nurgle Caloric. I mean, if only you were up here,
Yeah. Shall we move to 2A?
I just wanted that echoing silence of Caloric's, lack of presence in Div 1 to be felt. Yeah, let's do Div 2A.
Uber the Nuber and Anagram Catastrophe. They are coming from Div 4. So jumping up to Div 2.
How many Nurgle are in Div 2A? There's only one, I think. No, it's
2. 2. There's Atomics, who came from Div 1, and there's Yayo.
Yes, I've seen both of those names.
Yes. So
in terms of people I'm unfamiliar with here, I shoot blanks. I'm not super familiar with. Our name is Legion.
That's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
Everyone
I'm
else
actually more familiar with Div 2A.
So shall we go to Anagram Catastrophe?
I'm already there.
It's a Skaven team here. We've got another super fed blitzer in that it has Agi.
Just like that neither of us are willing to commit to that descriptor.
I don't know what that even means. You just said it earlier, so I was saying it again.
People say that the super fed school of Storm Vermin is taking Agi on your Storm Vermin because you need to often make Storm Vermin dodges, which is a true fact. But it was incredibly unpopular forever, and then in the last 2 seasons we've seen a lot more of it, and someone just decided it was fed. So Fed had an Agi up 1.
Sure.
Does still? I don't remember.
I just like to be included and participate in memes.
Oh, I know, sweetheart.
But he's got Mighty Blow, Piling on Claw, Tackle. So it's the Killer Blitzer, and the other one is going to be the one that gets guard and forgotten about. The less I like that you just blitzer.
Say it's the Killer Blitzer, like this is the standard Storm Vermin that
it kind of
Skaven
is.
Coaches don't just wish they had.
I mean, it kind of is like name as Skaven. There's the only team in Skaven team that doesn't have one in the top 3 divs is super fit, and that's just because he's missing Claw.
I'm not in the top 3 too. Yeah, it's fair.
I mean, the other one's going to get guard, and he's going to be the sad one that does the marking and be the less loved blitzer.
We've got a strength up ball carrier, quite nice. We got a natural 1-turner as they,
with also with 2 heads, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for dodging through the end screen. I mean, at this point, it's very, very tough to stop Throat Space, which is a name I'm a little uncomfortable with.
They're all anagrams of something. It's anagram catastrophe, so they're all anagrams. I don't know what they're anagrams of.
Why don't we sit here while you figure it out?
I'm not going to.
They're all anagrams of catastrophe, apparently.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense. And then Cops at Earth is the I like that one too. I like Cops at Earth. Catastrophe is a good word to have done this with. There's a lot of words in
Almost
catastrophe.
like he had an intention behind it.
Probably. Catastrophe is a good word to do that with. Cops at Earth is the wrestle, strip ball, tackle, and dauntless piece. So he's got all of the things instead of one on 2 different gutter runners. So he can do it all, which is good. And then line rats. He has a bench, right? They're all. There's too many numbers.
He has 2 bench. Yeah, I mean, this is like a very. I mean, it's like my team, except it has a natural 1-turner and a strength up, so it's just like infinitely better. But it is in the same vein. Like it's a feature complete rat team. It's got the killer. It's got a really good kind of like ball handling rat. It's got a good sacker. It's not an unfair sacker, but it's still like gutter runners.
He's got all the normal skills you just take. He's just got all of them.
And he's got a 1-turner. And then he's got some dirty player. He's got kick. He's got a bench. Like he's a rat team. He's got everything he needs. He's only 17-10. Like rat teams can run pretty lean even when they've got everything they need. So
yeah, so it's a really good rat team, and it should do pretty well. I think.
I expect it to do well.
Locust Cosecant, the All Stars of Chaos, was Div 1 last season, so drops down to 2 this season.
Yeah, we've been following this team around forever, but it's rolled some stat ups in the season we weren't looking at it.
Well, we looked at it last season. So yeah, I mean,
Pitbull Baby Breath a thing? I don't remember Pitbull Baby Breath.
I mean, he was in Div 1 last season, and we recapped Div 1, and I was in Div 1, so I played him last season. These are all things that happened.
I'm getting old. No, I don't know. I do not remember the vampire. This one's easy. The Horns vampire.
The Horns vampire with block? Like, no, it's not easy.
Vampires can take block. They have general access. Hugeness rock hard, yes.
Big Fist Reborn is good too. Okay, so let's take it from the top. I mean, we've got the four Chaos Warriors. We got Jump Up on Ice Baby Hammer Time, which was kind of fun because you could just immediately take Piling On, and that's a pretty good killer. I like Piling On Chaos Warriors a lot more than I like it on Nurgle Warriors, just because the movement 5 makes a pretty big difference there. But the other ones are going the standard Block Guard, Mighty Blow, Claw, Tackle in some order thing that Warriors of both varieties often do. Yeah, Pitbull Baby Breath would be a great ball carrier, or backup ball carrier if something happens to Slayer of the Tsar, but he can do a lot of things with just Strength 4 and Edgy 4 and block. Got the two separate killers with Vague Ghoul Pusher and Medium Goat, which I like that name too.
Yeah, Medium Goat's been around forever as the killer.
Yeah, I just like the name.
And he is very medium. He is extremely average.
Yeah, he's just all normals all the time. And Ghoul Pusher is definitely going to be pushing ghouls because he doesn't have tackle. But he does have plus strength and an Agi bust.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
It was kind of a joke.
It's something about your delivery.
I mean, I'm very deadpan sometimes with these things. And then there's a guard block beastman, a wrestle tackle beastman, a block beastman, dirty player beastman, and some rookies. You want to keep some rookies around for LOS duty. But it's got pretty much everything it wants as the Chaos team, right? Like, it doesn't have like a crazy, ridiculous like Sacker, but you've got buffed Igor, which does a pretty good job. Got a good killer, got good solid Nurgle Warriors. And I think it's a good team. I expect it to do pretty well.
You were talking about the team and I was just sassing Ellie.
No, you don't. You absolutely don't. I mean, the perfect like Pestigore killer is just all normals.
Yes, it turns out that GSM access is broken, which is why Chaos are banned in Lino League, because why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
Chaos are a good team. More news at 11.
Urs, the Lackland Longtongues, some lizard men.
This is a college team once upon a time.
They came from Div 2, but this is Div 2, so they're staying in Div 2. And it's got some skinks, certainly. Those are some skinks.
Yeah, this team is definitely known for its skinks.
Also very known for using those skinks to basically 2-turn every drive. or at least attempt
his
to.
wizards and in particular his Croxagors do not have a good time, but his skinks are great. The movement busted niggled agi up one probably needs to be retired, mostly because you have a second one that's better.
I like how he's movement busted and also sprint sure feet. It's like, I'm good at movement. No, you're not.
I mean, it's not quite Rolling Red's AV up, AV down Saurus, but
or the strength up, strength down white.
Yeah, that's more sensible though. Like I think that's sad more than funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can say Knight's strength up, idiot, but it just doesn't feel the same, you know?
Yeah, no, that's very true. But there is another agi one, and there is another movement one. Well, a movement one, not another movement one. I was talking about movement down. This is movement up.
I mean, I really hope. I mean, I think the movement bus should have been the death of that skink, but the niggle really, really ought to be. Especially because he has like credible replacements, including a movement 9 also niggled player. Like,
I mean, yeah, like the agi an agi skink is great, but you have another one, so you can use that one to do all of the agi things, and then you use the movement 9 sprint one to do anything that the sprint one would have done. Like, you can just replace him with the two other skinks you already have and save yourself 180 TV.
Speaking of niggled skinks, I think it's an advice channel.
Then there's another one with block and diving tackle who's just kind of super annoying defensively, and then there's a rookie skink. No Croxagor, and the Saurus are all there. One of them doesn't have block yet because he's new, which is the one thing you really want him to get. But once he has block and he has a Croxagor, then it's a pretty solid team. I mean, block, guard, mighty blow, break tackle, block, guard, stand firm, block, guard, tackle, mighty blow, block, tackle, block, and then a block Saurus would be a pretty good complement of Saurus, certainly. You just need that one to get block, and sometimes that can be very slow. And the skinks are very solid, if expensive, but they're very good. So totally worth it, I think. I would just probably consider getting rid of Collateral now, especially since you have these other two that can kind of do that job. But yeah, he needs a Croxagor and wants the block on Mortimer, certainly, and then you'd be pretty happy with it, I think. Yeah,
I mean, it's getting there. It's going to have a permanently rostered Slibley, which is nice.
1550 for the next match.
Do you want to talk about Atomics' team real quick while I pop out for a second?
Sure. We have Atomics and the Rowdy Rebel Rousers coming down with me from Div 1. We were the two Nurgle teams that got sent out to make Div 1 have 2 Nurgle instead of 4 Nurgle. And they even split us up. So disappointed. We can't be friends again. Terrorized Div 2 together as the big scary Nurgle that everyone hates. We can be the heels. But Atomics has got Sandoon is the kind of scary killer Nurgle warrior that's been around forever, but is a very good one. Piling on a Nurgle warrior is not something that you see super frequently, but it does help him. He's just very dedicated to the killer role, which is why we also have pro instead of taking any sort of like guard or stand firm or what have you. You'd see a lot of Nurgle player, like the sort of standard Nurgle warrior level would have these two replaced with guard and stand firm, but he just has one that's dedicated to being a killer, and he certainly does that job very well. The Sage is a great beast. Block and guard. We talked about it last season, but there's some new people here, so we can talk about it again. Took pro as the doubles. I think this is actually a movement up doubles, if I remember correctly. Like double fives. And he had a huge debate, direct messaged a bunch of different Nurgle coaches to get their opinions, and was trying to settle between pro plus movement. I think it was before the movement bust happened, and block or dodge. I think I probably would have gone with dodge. Some people, he went with pro, and pro has certainly done well for him. I've seen him use it to effect that has mattered. So it's nice to cancel out really stupid sometimes, certainly. And then so we see the more standard Nurgle Warrior progressions in Horny Cricket and Lord Farquaad, and we are brand new Nurgle Warrior in Graft Skin down here, which is a little sad because all the other Nurgle Warriors are named after people. We've got Sandoon and Horny Cricket, and then Graft Skin. I don't know what that is, but he's the rookie one. We'll be looking to level him when we can, but it's going to be pretty slow. But you could always go Mighty Blow first to try to accelerate his development, and that's probably what we'll do. We've seen him do it before with Horny Cricket too, so Mighty Blow block probably. Ornan is the ball carrying but also tackle Pestigore. I mean, he's got tackle because his last level wasn't anything exciting. What normals do you take here? It gives him an extra tackle on the team that's also pretty mobile with 2 heads and dodge, so that's nice. And Bird is the other Pestigore you mentioned when we were talking about Saudicus's team. There were a couple crazy Pestigores in REL 1 last season, this being one of them. Strength 4, Agi 4, Wrestle, Tackle, Frenzy is a very reliable dodge into places with Agi 4, who also blitzes on Strength 5 with Wrestle, Tackle and can do it twice. It's very hard to keep potatoing players safe from Bird, or even screened off players safe from Bird. You kind of want to do the full cage, and even then, he can dive into it not terribly unreliably, and he did that exact thing to me when we played, in fact. So it's a very good Pestigore. I think he'd love to get 2 heads, would make that even more terrifying, but we're a ways away. Chucky is the standard killer Pestigore. He's going to get tackle next, and then his last level will probably be Juggernaut, but maybe Pro. Barry Sanders, we get the support Pestigore. The fourth one is often a sort of flexible Pestigore. We've got the sacker, ball carrier, killer. The fourth one can sometimes be a support piece, sometimes be another sort of frenzy piece. But this one is the Blodge Guard, which is nice to have an extra Blodge and an extra Guard, because sometimes Guard is surprisingly hard to get on an REL team, because it tends to be on the Warriors, and they don't often get it till their 4th skill. And a bunch of Rotters. They're Rotters. Who cares? Dirty Player Wrestle. These Dirty Player's nice. Second Dirty Player's nice. He probably just wants more Rotters, if anything, because Rotters are always nice, and they tend to die. Because you want 3 on the LOS, and then only leaves you with 1 left over. So if anything happens to one during the game, suddenly you don't have extras, especially if one of them gets sent off from fouling. So you probably want to add a Rotter at some point. But 1, we don't have money. 2, our TV is huge. And 3, you tend to get them for free anyway. So. And we have Kael'ric and the Battle Brothers, Bretonians. They are coming down from Div 1. Along with Atomics, so they played last season and they're playing again this season. Been around for a couple seasons now too. Battle Brothers, relatively old team as far as teams go. We've got the 4 Blitzers, Disciple of Davkol being the new one. There used to be some pretty serious Blitzers on this team, namely Hand of Davkol was just Griff. Agi 4, Strength 4, Blodge Step, Sure Hands Fend, rerolls for everything, plus really good stats. So we'll see if we can pull that off again with Disciple of Davkol. Just Dodge and Sure Hands for now, but only 2 SPP away from the next one. Then Arthur Pendragon and Lord Porohoi, both with plus Agi and Mighty Blow skills to be They can do ball stuff with the Agi 4, they can do running and ball handling and then tossing back and forth if they really need to, because Agi 4 and catch is a pretty good way of doing that. But they also have Mighty Blow and Tackle for hunting down squishy players with their Mighty Blow, Tackle, and Movement 7, so they'll be good against rats and elves and that sort of thing. And the Juggernaut is a nice option to have, definitely, especially as a capstone skill there.
I have returned.
Welcome back. We're on to Kael'ric's team. And then Companion is the Blitzer that you build when you want an extra reroll and only roll normals. And that he picks up Tackle and Dodge. Then he had Leader to just do some TV saving, Fend, and Sure Feet. Or not Sure Feet, Sidestep. Feet skills. They're all the same to me. Houndmaster.
Houndmaster Hubbard. It's delightful.
Relatively new. The Strength 5 is pretty recent for this team, only coming at the end of last season. But man, that's fun. Just suddenly an ogre on your a Strength 5 piece on your Brett team is not something you expect to have ever. But I can imagine it's very nice. The Guard Strength 5, super great to have. Especially now that he's up to 3 Guard. He was playing with 1 for a lot of last season, if I recall correctly, and now we're up to 3 with 3 of the 4 blockers getting Guard. One of them also having Dodge and Stand Firm to be extra annoying, and then some peasants.
Kael'ric's team used to be all Blitzer, but now he's starting to he actually keeps some blockers around, which is going to be helpful for his, bash game.
Yeah, Griff is gone, sadly, but he's been gone a while. But we'll keep harping on about it because it was fun to have a rostered Griff on Hand of Davbil. And then we can go to CR Boys, who we've recapped before, but it was back when he was playing Wood Elves. So we've recapped CR Boys before, but not CR Boys Nashville Nasty. So it's fun to have CR Boys back. Welcome back, CR Boys. Staying in Div 2, although I think they've swapped to 2A from 2B. Not that it really makes a difference, but got to go in one of the twos.
CR Boys was playing Wood Elves last time, right?
Yep, last time we recapped them, they were playing Wood Elves. Now it is a 15-10 Necro team. And for some reason they follow the tradition of Necro teams making me crazy and putting their players in no order whatsoever. Travel Scrabble School of making Steakmittens annoyed. Well, let's start from the top. A zombie. Weird. Then we have another zombie. This one is Kick and Wrestle. Kick is a nice skill to have on a Necro team. Oh, and then a Flesh Golem. We must be out of zombies. There are no more zombies on this team. Only 2 zombies? How weird. That doesn't seem like enough zombies. Oh wait, there's more later because your team's in the wrong order. Fix it.
So yeah, to actually talk about the team, has a kick but no dirty player. This is the second Necro team this week that I've seen that's making this decision. I kind of get it. Necro are a little fast, but I feel like Necro are best at attrition. They have an entirely regen team. They're all AV, well, other than the ghouls, they're all AV8 or up other than the ghouls. Oh. I think they really are favored by the high attrition game, especially with the ability to create new zombies. I like dirty player.
Well, they'll get a dirty player. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The zombie with Kick has got 30 SPP, and all the other zombies have 0. So I would imagine...
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if Plank 2 was not the oldest zombie on the team, and we've probably had a dirty player die and just haven't had a new one level.
There's only one dirty player that died. He took an AV bust. I was also going to say, in terms of the kind of throwaway line nose, I think zombies are the only ones that I like taking strength up on. At armor 8 and regen, I don't hate strength up zombies. I think they're kind of nice. Necro can feel spread pretty thin a lot of the time, so it can be nice to have another pseudo positional around, another pseudo Flesh Golem.
Yeah, Necro and Undead kind of do that thing where you're like, I swear I have less players than you, but you don't. It just where is my team, right? It's just, and you end up with
this team needs a bench for sure.
Why do I have to do things with zombies? Yes, the strength 4 block tackle zombie is kind of nice, but he's not exactly disposable anymore, but he'll certainly do very good things until he does die. 2 Flesh Golems, one is rookie. We have paid Flesh Golem tax. No tax evasion here. The other one is guard and block. Guard first is interesting. A lot of people just take block first because suddenly, like, a block Flesh Golem is infinitely more annoying than just a rookie Flesh Golem because the stand firm block suddenly makes them so much more frustrating to, like, try to push away from things. Whereas without block, you can sometimes get both downs, it turns out. But must have wanted the guard. We have 2 whites. One is a guard Dauntless piece, which is another interesting choice. Dauntless is kind of fun. Especially on the guard. I mean, the guard first makes a lot of sense. Just we need a guard piece, and the other one is Mighty Blow Tackle.
Yeah, I don't think you can afford to take Dauntless on whites, to be honest. There's just too many good skills that Necro need, and generally in the form of, like, Mighty Blow.
Blow Tackle, piling on.
Well, I don't love piling on. Well, I mean, I don't mind one piling on white, but I think they mostly need a bunch of, like, guard stand firm kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, that's you build one sort of Mighty Blow Tackle piling on, and then you build one like guard stand firm.
Well, that's kind of the undead way of doing it. Often you will see.
I do play undead more often.
Double early pickups of guard on whites. Kind of guard Mighty Blow sort of thing, because, like, it's nice to have the blitzing option that isn't frenzy, but also you just so desperately need pitch control with Necro because you have so little presence with your pieces because they're all strength 3 other than the Flesh Columns. So it's not unusual to see whites for Necro built a little bit more supporty than they are for undead, where the mummies form almost all of your pitch control front, so you can afford to have killier whites.
Especially since one of your werewolves rolls Mighty Blows, they're very for skill. You can just say like, oh well, he's going to be doing the killing now, and you don't really have to go too hard into the like Mighty Blow piling on route on a white.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we did with Machi. Mighty Blow, block, dodge, tackle, jump up. So just praying for that legend level to be a double there, tempting it with the jump up as we've seen before.
Jump up on wolves is also nice. Like
it's also just a good skill, but still the memes.
Yeah, it is the meme for sure.
And then the other white, like you said, is Mighty Blow tackle, and then the last werewolf is just block rookie, but that'll change very soon. Wolves are fairly easy to level.
James Dean with no capitals. It just feels very like whatever.
Yeah, James Dean. And some of the players on this team don't make a lot of sense to me in terms of names. James Dean,
just a bunch of random stuff.
The Shark, Baldric the Loose Stool.
All right.
Lumi is followed. Welcome along. Thanks, Luminous. And then we can go to Fall, and Here We Fall. High Elves. The last time we saw Fall,
He's
they were
not
playing
Amazons. That's sacrilegious. Fall only plays Amazons.
Yeah, Fall coming from Div 3 last season. The last time we watched Fall or recapped Fall, they were playing Amazons.
And they're also just kind of famous for playing Amazons.
That's the Amazon Wood Elf One Tree Offense thing, right? That was Fall, I think.
Yes, he also has a thrower called One Tree Offense.
Oh, there you go.
I thought you were referencing that, but
well, no, I was referencing the time that it actually happened when he pitch cleared a Wood Elf team, and except for the tree, and then the Wood Elves went on offense with only the tree. And
well, Ellie, much like when he plays Amazons, Fall is a big believer in having his team die. So this is just how it is. This is a super thrower, though. I mean, that's a +2 to passes. That's 19 SPP.
Yeah, or plus 2 to passes as your first 2 levels, and that's pretty good. Very good at just yeeting that ball to one of those catchers. One of which is movement 9.
What, a 2+ long pass? I forget what they're actually called, but it's the.
I think you need another +1 to make the long bomb.
Well, not the long bomb, but
just the long pass,
the one just below a long bomb.
Yes, that should be a 2, I think, but. Turns out I don't pass very often, so I don't really have that memorized.
Wuss. No, I'm just kidding. Passing is bad.
As Nurgle and Undead, very frequently, yes. We do have the movement 9 catcher to pass it to. How does
Fend work with chain pushes? It still triggers them, you just can't follow up.
Yep. The chain you still push the opposing player, you just can't follow them.
Yeah, you just can't follow, which can make filling holes complicated. Wink. But no, it doesn't work like stand firm. Like it doesn't stop one turns.
But what it does stop is piling on, because they can't follow you to pile on, which is kind of nice.
It also counts as 2 blocks received, because Cyanide is good at this game.
Yeah, I don't know how. I can't not imagine what they did in the code to make that a thing. Like I don't know. I'm not like I'm not like a coder or anything really. I mostly do one-off stuff. But I can't not imagine how it would be designed where they count a Fend.
I was going to say, we now have Lumi in our div. I bet Lumi could find out what the fuck is going on there.
I want to know why. And I also, like, just out of curiosity's sake, I want to know how the Throne Rock canceling, like, loop script works. Because I have a very strong like mental image of exactly what it looks like, because of how it says player 1/player 2 is hit by a rock, rather than it like not happening. Like they just cancel it before they choose any of the players randomly, and then output the print anyway, rather than having like some sort of check. And I have that like very strong mental image in my mind of exactly how that looks, and I really want my biases to be confirmed. Anyway,
I like that you're giving homework to our recappies.
That's the kind of thing that Lumi would want to do anyway.
So yeah, broad strokes, not much of a team, as Ellie pointed out. It's kind of got it's got a little bit of everything. It's got the strength up blitzer, which is nice. It doesn't have any other unfair skills to go with it. It's just a really nice, like, kind of in the way potential like non-killy blitzer. It's a really good positional kind of like pitch control piece. And like an annoying piece to deal with in general. It's got a movement 9 catcher, so it can do semi-credible 1 turns. It's just like a very credible 2-turner.
Especially with that thrower.
Yeah, so it's very, very easy for this team to 2-turn. But other than that, it doesn't have a ton going on.
It's got the Mighty Blow is nice against other elves, but
Yeah, movement bust isn't a big deal on this piece. It's like a little bit of a problem, but he's mostly going to be making kind of attrition blitzes during the part of the game where everyone is just kind of squaring off and taking their one blitz a turn. So
and 2 SPP until he levels again as well, and that shouldn't be too hard to get with Mighty Blow.
And he's still 1630 because high elves are bloaty as hell, but we'll get some inducements in this division, but not.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of higher numbers than 1630 so far. And then Yayo, Ye Old Guard, we've recapped them before, I believe.
Many times, yeah.
Several times. Staying in Div 2 from last season. It is a Nurgle team. And it is a Nurgle team that sort of fits the stereotypical Nurgle team levels. Although, it's got 2 Dodge Nurgle Warriors. So there's 2 Blodge Guard pieces, which is kind of fun.
My Chaos team had 3 Blodge Chaos Warriors once.
It's surprisingly handy.
No, they just got powed and died.
That's what happened. I have a Blodge Chaos or Nurgle Warrior. I had a Blodge Nurgle Warrior, and then he got powed and died. And then I got another one. Like on his replacement, the guy that had the same name also got the same skills, and follows the same trend of just getting removed the first time he takes a block because it's a POW. And sometimes in an emergency, that like making that Agi 2 dodge with a reroll has saved me more than once.
Yes, what Atomic said. He's got 2 Blodge Warriors. He's Control
Nurgle.
Control Nurgle memes. Control Chaos is the real meme, but Control Nurgle is close enough.
He's got all the Beast of Nurgle skills you take when you don't roll anything exciting. Block Claw, we talked about that last season, that he took Claw before Mighty Blow, is not necessarily the greatest, but it is theoretically better against Armor 9 if he was playing a lot of Orcs and stuff.
Oh, here's an interesting question because it came up in your clan.
Did it?
If you have a block beast and it rolls a double, do you take dodge or do you take tackle or do you take claw?
You say a block beast or block
like Beast of Nurgle.
Oh, I would take
like
dodge. I would take dodge, and that's what I did when I had one.
Interesting. Ellie was tempted to take claw, and I was kind of backing it.
Most often, what I end up using the beast for is putting in annoying places and then being like, cool, I'm trading one of my players for 3 of yours, and he's so much more annoying to remove.
I get the temptation to take dodge, especially like how most teams use it. The problem with hers is that it just needs more kill. Like it's so lacking in kill. And then claw, it's nice to have a second claw mighty blow piece.
What you take is prehensile tail and just stack that tentacles.
The worst.
No, I would take dodge.
You take diving tackle tentacles. It's a combo.
I would take dodge, but we saw Atomics earlier took pro, right? So like, there's a lot of arguments certainly to decide there. I like dodge, but I mean, could also go tackle, which I don't really like as much as the other options, but it is an option for people trying to dodge away from tentacles.
More than any other big guy, like kind of close to the Croxagore, but even the Croxagore takes more blocks, I think, than the Beast of Nurgle. Like, just is there to stand there. So I think tackle in particular on that big guy is a mistake. That was like, I don't actually think it's a good choice. I think it is between dodge and like something like claw or pro, but I don't love pro.
It's a tier 2 option, I think. But I would take dodge personally, and that's what I did when I had that choice. So I can back up my statement with true facts of things that I would have done.
What happened to your blodge guy?
He died after getting blocked. But it's not like there was a POW, right? So like, that would have done it to any Beast of Nurgle.
I know it's like, I mean, it is results based decision. Like, of course he died on a POW. Like, what else is he gonna die on? I mean, I guess he could have failed the GFI and killed himself, like all good big guys.
No, he got like uphill blocked by a Chorf and POW'd and killed.
Oh, that wasn't your.
Oh no, that was the other. That was the other Beast of Nurgle that died.
That was your college one.
That was the first one.
I do like my block Croxagore who died on a dub skull blitz. That was fun.
Anyway,
big guys are a source of limitless frustration.
And we've talked about the Nurgle Warriors. There's more dodge than normal. We've got two killer or 3 killer Pestigores, really, which is a thing. They're all at various levels of development, though. We don't actually have the like full-on claw, mighty blow, piling on block tackle Pestigore, but we've got one that's got some of those skills, one that's got one of those skills, and one that's got most of those skills, but also has frenzy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that doesn't look for its like one claw palm blitz a turn. This is a team I think that bases up with its warriors and then positions its pestigores so that you can get follow up blocks and tries to maximize claw mighty blow hits that way.
Yeah,
it does have one claw mighty blow warrior, and then it's got one mighty blow warrior and one just claw warrior, which we talked about last season, or whenever the last time we looked at this team was. I think it was last season.
last season.
I think it was in 2A. Yeah. So yeah, it's a team that kind of gets attrition in a little slightly more unusual ways. Not really that much more unusual, but probably plays a little bit more aggressive with their pestigores, trying to maximize those mighty blow hits.
It's less about the one like super blitz and more about the like scrum kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think claw would be a lot more tempting, Ellie, if you had more than one of it. Nurgle and Clan are weird.
Yes. Very expensive, but when they can do well if you have enough of the things that make them very expensive, but then they only really last for a season because you can't really afford to buy them again. It's kind of strange.
I've never seen a Nurgle team do well in Clan.
True Blue's team is doing pretty well, I think.
True Blue is garbage.
Okay.
This is just meaningless star wipes at this point.
Block guard rodder is really kind of nice to have. An extra guard is always welcome on a Nurgle team, and then the other ones are just idiot rodders. So there you
go. The problem with Nurgle and Clan is just that Nurgle needs so much to be good, and Clan teams are so like they have to be built because of the way they're built. That like even with Clan rules, Nurgle's teams still suck, and other teams are so much better because they get all of the skills they need. So
yeah, Nurgle can be good if they get levels. And then they keep them, but then you can't necessarily take them over to the next season because they're very expensive if they get levels. So it's this kind of weird thing where you want to build them and then hope you do well with them early on.
Yep.
We have I Shoot Blanks, the Horn of Gorthank, a Chaos team. This is a team coach that I'm not super familiar with either.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even seen them. So where are they coming from?
Div 3. Div 3.
Ooh, they did well in Challengers or playoffs?
I'm not sure.
Doesn't your little spreadsheet tell you?
No. It just tells me where they came from.
Well, I mean, they might have just done really well in their div, but
last season they were in 3C. And they were
not a ton to say. Hey, that's my div. Not a ton to say. They've got two quite good warriors, the standard Mighty Blow, Block, Guard, Claw. One of them is movement busted. Not a huge deal in Chaos Warriors. They're fairly speedy, so
there's not much team.
Thing. Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Like, after that, you've got a Block Guard Mighty Blow one, which is nice. You've got a Claw Mighty Blow Armor Busted one, which sucks. And then that's it.
The Warriors are fine, but, like, we don't have enough beasts. Like, the Warriors are good, but they're just kind of, like, dragging the beasts, kicking and screaming into the games. Because, you don't have, like, the sort of standard blitzer. We don't actually even have a ball carrier, but, like, one of the block guys is probably doing it for now. And no bench means whenever they run up against one of the killier teams, they're going to be a little sad. But it's the Warriors are the hard things to level, and they're already leveled, so that's certainly good, and we have a good core to work from. But we need a bit of work, I think, on some aspects of this team.
This is going to have a tough time, I think, in any. Well, actually, it might do okay-ish in bash matchups because it's got that base warrior, the warrior setup, and it's going to be able to take those like 3 really good LOS blocks and stuff like that. But...
And the one warrior who doesn't have block yet is only 4 away, and with Claw Mighty Blow, like that's 2 Kaz.
He's also armor 8, which sucks because you don't really want to keep him, but
you will.
So tough.
You will.
I don't know if you do on Chaos.
I think
but
you do.
He needs more beasts, more importantly. And so this is going to be. I mean, but the biggest thing is like against an Agi team, he has 0 resources other than a diving tackle beast.
Yeah, no tackle, no actual like sure hands ball carrier or anything. So like he's going to have a hard time against the Agi teams. Although he'll probably get inducements against them, but there's not that many inducements that help you very much against
Chaos
Agi.
Inducements are pretty meh,
especially against Agi. Yeah.
Yes, in particular against Agi.
Our Name is Legion, Talk Show Terror, Necromantic. Our Name is Legion is one that I'm not very familiar with either. They are coming from Div 3 as well. A 1850 actual TV, but 1630 for the next match, plus 50k in extra cash that they have currently.
They've just eaten an armor bust on their all normal wolf who needs to be recycled anyway, and they have 190k. Hey, you guy, if you're in this person,
Our Name is
you
Legion.
Should probably recycle Wolf Blitzer. You should probably have recycled Wolf Blitzer a level ago, but this is a great time to do it.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean,
Probably
it's
worth
a wolf
doing.
with 4 normals and an armor bust.
5 normals.
Oh, 5 normals. Yeah, yeet. Just
Yeah, I mean, the
go.
start of a season is a relatively good time, especially to start trying to level a new player as well. And it's not like you're going to have that wolf for the next game anyway. Otherwise, the argument would be like, well, let's see what my next match is. But you don't have him anyway, so you might as well go into the match with 2 wolves. The other werewolf is very good. Mighty Blow, Blodge, Tackle, Sidestep. He's going to pray for piling on, I think, on the final level. But even if he doesn't get it, he's still a very good wolf.
Yeah, on a normal, you take... I don't even know.
So Superbase says that Wolf Blitzer is probably going to get recycled.
I saw that. So, right, we talked about it off stream. Yeah, that's good. I think that is a prime candidate for recycling. I could understand playing out the first few games and seeing how you're doing, and if you're winning, maybe keeping it around. But I think at this point, like, wolves are so quick to level. There's nothing you really are trying to level on this team. I guess you're technically carrying on Steven Gilbert.
I like that name.
I don't even know if you are actually carrying on him, because now that he's got guard, he's kind of a weird mobile assist. And he's also only movement 6. So this team is kind of in a little bit of an awkward position where it doesn't have a ball carrier. It's got a wolf that needs recycling. It's got a ghoul that's going to die sometime very soon. I think you probably get a new wolf and start carrying on him, and that's your ticket to developing in the long run.
Yeah, and then once you get to the point where you need more cash, maybe you start considering doing something with Steven Gilbert. I mean, the guard is nice to have, but he's not really a ball carrier anymore, and now because he's movement busted with guard.
Yeah, you just go block sidestep.
The whites, the one, we probably want tackle there, especially if we recycle the wolf that has tackle, because that leaves us with 1. So we'll probably want tackle on those whites.
You do anyway, just because you want a non-frenzy tackle. For sure.
Well, I mean, the white who has Mighty Blow will take tackle next, whereas he would probably otherwise take guard, like we talked about before.
Yep, I see what you're saying. The strength 5 flesh golem is a godsend. Obviously,
lovely.
Yeah. Flesh golems are the pillar of your team. Having them be extra pillory is, now that is just a stand firm block guard big guy without loner and his AV9 thick skull regen. He's incredibly hard to deal with.
He's extra big and extra annoying, which means he's gonna die because flesh golem attacks.
Yeah,
sorry. We talked about the ghoul. It's a little weird, but guard is nice to have. And you're going to probably carry on the new wolf anyway. There's a dirty player zombie, there's a kick zombie, and the other ones, there's some block in there too. So, they're zombies, and they kind of have the things that you need zombies to do, like a kick one and a dirty player one, and the rest of them are morons. So that's pretty nice.
Hey, look, it's Rand's team. I'm going to sprint at the fridge and get more beer.
That's fair. We have Rand the Mad, bring out your undead. You want at least 2. You want at least a dirty player one, and you want probably a kick one, and that's 20k at least for the 2 of them that you want to spend. Other than that, you don't really care, and they're just cheap. But those skills are worth the 40k extra that they're going to bring to the team, 100%. And then if you get a guard one, you definitely want to keep that around too, because more guard is always good. Anyway, we have Rand's team, the team where only 1 Tomb Guardian can level, as was the meme last season. This guy just keeps, I don't know if it shows MVPs when you click on him here. It doesn't, but this guy just keeps taking the MVPs, and all the other Tomb Guardians cannot level to save their lives. But this one has done all of the leveling. He's guard mighty, only taken normals so far, but it turns out strength normals are still pretty good. Guard, mighty blow, stand firm, break tackle are nice to have. He would love to get doubles for block, because we are starting to run out of useful skills.
Hey, but he leveled a Tomb Guardian that wasn't that one. I don't know if you pointed that out yet.
He leveled this one at the end of last season, right? We saw that happen.
Yeah, but no one else did.
Oh, that's
Rand
true.
had 1 leveled Tomb Guardian for the entirety of last season, other than
until the very end when we got a mighty blow on this one, which has accelerated his development certainly, because he's now only 1 SPP away from his next level. But it was a team that was mostly skeletons for a long time, which is not how you want a Khemri team to be.
Yeah, it had 2 crazy throw raws. It had 2 pretty good blitz raws, and then he lost 1. He lost 1 of the throw raws too.
And he had 3 or 4 level 4 skeletons too.
Yes, guard block.
Yeah.
Fend.
So it's just
I don't remember.
unfortunate.
They were weird.
It's kind of hard to make your Tomb Guardians get SPP until they have like Mighty Blow, because it's not exactly trivial to score on an Agi 1 movement 4 player. You're kind of praying for some random Kaz and an MVP for the first level or two.
Right, you had a guard Mighty Blow skeleton. Well, I mean,
And
living up to your name.
Oh, and they're so close. Like, I really want his first game. He could get 3 Tomb Guardian levels in his next game with 1 Kaz on each of them, and I really want that to happen. I just want, like, suddenly this team to explode, and I'd be so happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it needs to be good, so...
And then, yeah, there's the killer Blitzra, who's also got Stand Firm. And then there's a second relatively new Blitzra who's probably going to go along the same path, because that's kind of what Blitzras do.
Yep, it's their only real job. They don't really need to be support pieces when you have Tomb Guardians.
You have 4 Strength 5 pieces? No, not really.
And Slade the Black Mage's Tarot Alliance. This has been another team that's been around forever.
We missed the Throw Raw. We should mention the Movement 8 Throw Raw.
Sorry, I forgot. I just assumed Bravely Run Away, the Movement 8 Throw Raw is a hell of a thing. Blodge Fend.
That is a very speedy skeleton.
Yeah, it's a speedy boy.
And then there's the defensive Throw Raw instead of the offensive one, and some skeletons with like Wrestle Tackle and stuff, the kind of things you would take with as levels when they keep leveling instead of your Tomb Guardians. But this team is so close to just being good. It needs 1 Kaz on each of those Tomb Guardians, and then suddenly it's a pretty reasonable team. Until then, the Tomb Guardians are not going to be as effective.
I do love that it's a Khemri team with a credible 2-turn threat.
Yeah, with the Throw Raw.
For some very specific values of 2-turn threat and credible. But, you know, there's still some 4+s in there, but when aren't there for Khemri? So.
You know, like with Movement 8, like theoretically 1-turning is not impossible, especially...
I mean, getting the ball to it is the bigger problem.
Yes, yes, that's the hard part. But the actual pushes are like within reason, which is kind of weird. Because normally, I think as Herringzord says, the Khemri 1-turn is set up for a 2-turn and pray to roll a riot. Is the Khemri 1-turn, but like I know it's never going to happen, but like, you know, it's theoretically not totally infeasible now with Movement 8, which is kind of funny.
Indeed. All right. Then we have Slade the Black Mage, as discussed.
Bring out your that's where we just were. Tarot Alliance. Slade the Black Mage.
Tarot Alliance came up from College League forever ago.
Did pretty well, if I recall correctly, as well.
Yep, did pretty well. Did pretty well on their first season here, and then had a couple of rough ones. I think they've got a pretty good team though. The Devil is probably one of the best Chaos Warp blockers in the league, I'd say. Strength Up, Claw, Mighty Blow, better than Horns, which is 9-ball, I think.
Yeah, strength is definitely better than Horns. It's just Horns all the time.
Yeah, Horns all the time is good. Jump Up even for that extra killing potential. The Devil is this team.
The Devil is a devil?
Yes. Last time I saw this team, the Devil was very much outclassing the rest of the team. It seems like he's developed a lot of the other blockers at this point.
Which is really nice. Yeah, I think they came up from Div 3, by the way, is where they were before.
The Magician, yeah, he lost his other Strength Up support blocker, which was a big deal for sure. He's lost a couple of good blockers, and he lost Temperance, the Agi Up ball carrying Hobgoblin, and he lost the Emperor, the first one, which was a Bull Centaur. So he's kind of remaking one of his Bull Centaurs. The other one is this kind of like Blitzer with Strip Ball. He's got a lot of really good Chorfs, 2 Claw Mighty Blow, which is decent, and then a ton. I mean, like 6 Mighty Blow, 6 Guard.
Yeah, the Chorf core is real solid. There aren't any like weak link Chorfs here. They all have Mighty Blow Guard at the very least, and then 5 of them, like the other 5, all have some like either Claw Mighty Blow or Stand Firm. It's a real solid core of Chorf blockers. It would be super frustrating to deal with as long as they stay together and kind of do the Chorf thing. It's very, very annoying for opposing teams to deal with.
And then 3 bench actually when the Tower Reversed is back, and a couple of decent Hobgoblins. So I mean, this is a 6, 7. It's a 7 Mighty Blow, 5, 6, 7, 8 Guard Chorf team. Good luck.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play that team.
This is a team that mulches you. Chorfs can struggle a lot of the time in the bash game because they are all strength 3. There's only 6 blockers. They're easily isolated. Yeah. But with a couple of Chorfs or Hobgoblins, rather, with Guard to back them up and develop Bull Centaurs, I wouldn't want to play this game in any sort of a bash, or this team in any sort of a bash mirror. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah. Sometimes you can kind of isolate, like margin, and therefore like kind of marginalize the Chorvs because they're not very good just alone.
Yeah, they need the buddy system for sure.
Yeah, and if you can manage to pull that off and get, like 3 of them off to the side on a zombie or something, sure, they're going to punch the zombies, but then the Chorvs can't really do anything to you. And it's so much harder to do that when they're all stand firm guard and you have buddies with the hobgoblins, like you said.
Great team. I would expect it to do good things.
Soul of Dragon's Fire and Marvelous Creatures, some Dark Elves.
Soul is an old hand in the Rebel League for sure. I don't know if we've ever covered them before.
I don't think so. I've played them in Clan, or I don't think did I play them in Clan? Somebody in my clan played them in Clan.
Well, they are running REL, I think, or were running REL. I'm not sure if it's still true. I don't remember if I've ever actually played them. I think I did play them once, but I've played against Clan REL a lot.
I have a terrible memory, as I said, but I've definitely either played or drafted against them very recently. Anyway,
it's a very developed Dark Elf team. Niggled, surfing witch, a sacking leap witch, 2 kind of blodge stepped diving tackle pieces, 1 with tackle, a great killer in Thor Dog of Thunder 3. Thor, I'm guessing is what that. Yeah, okay, that's what's happening there. Praying for another double for piling on, maybe, so we can have to jump up.
I like Tony Stork. I don't know what it is.
Tony Stork, the Agi 6 Blitzer. Yeah, I also like Tony.
I mean,
Stork.
I just without the skills, just the name. Like, I understand they're all like Marvel character kind of like pun things with animals, but like Tony Stork, like just in general, is just a funny name to me.
Yeah, it's fair.
Like Stonks or whatever. Like just Tony Stork.
I've got another weird beer can, as I did during the. Oh, it's not really visible.
I also like Ant instead of Ant-Man. It's just Ant.
Pretty good.
Oh man, yes. So the Dark Elves. They've got like all of the 6 players that are most important to them are all like super leveled, and that's great because that's kind of the core of the team. And then you've got the one Witch Elf is block, one is wrestle sort of thing that happens a lot. And then the Blitzers do the I'm very annoying, here I am thing with blodge, sidestep, and diving tackle everywhere. And then the Agi 6. Agi 6 is like almost a waste in a lot of cases, but man, when it does work, you feel so good. Just like, hey, look, all those tackle zones? Nah, see you later. Bye. It certainly opens up a lot of options, but and Agi 6 sure hands is basically just like big hand, like
your ball, my ball. Yeah. If the ball is ever on the ground, Tony Stork is going to take it. There's nothing you can really do to stop them outside of a snake.
Yeah, and Scarlet Weasel, it turns out, is pretty good at putting the ball on the ground with wrestle, tackle, leap, frenzy. So that's a nice little combo there. And then once they get. Yeah, so that'll be fun to see. And then the linemen are linemen. You get kick, which you always want on an elf team. 1 guard, which is always nice to pick up when you can, because guard is a really good skill, it turns out. And you need to roll doubles for it, so you take it where you can on a dark elf team.
Dear Devil is a great name, but is also AV busted and niggled. I think at this point you toss him. Dodge guard is great, but at what cost?
It's hard because it's the only guard on the team, but like he's gonna get punched more often than other elves because he has guard. That's how guard works, and he's armor 7 niggled, which is like pretty terrifying.
I mean, it's like having a guard skink.
Yeah, so. It's pretty terrifying, but it's also the only guard on the team, and that might be pretty useful when trying to use the witch elves with frenzies and stuff. So I don't know. I don't play dark elves enough, I think, to make a conclusive opinion on that. But it's certainly real debatable.
No, I think that's definitely firing. Probably ditto on Nick Furry the second, but he doesn't want to get too far into his bench, I imagine. So it's a tough call at that point.
Certainly real debatable for me, and I don't play elves. So.
Good Dark Elf team doesn't have scary sacking threats, but if they ever get the ball on the ground because you have to deal with their annoying blodge step nonsense, goodbye ball.
Yeah.
And then Das Schuttenheim's Orcsploitation Cinema, a team we have seen many, many times.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some stat ups. It actually has a lot fewer than it used to, I think. But Leorc Neeson, the Strength 5 Blitzer, exists.
I love Leorc Neeson.
But, and then Demi Mork, the Agi 5 Orc Thrower, is also a piece.
Yep. So that's an Agi 5. Is that a safe throw? Yeah, no intercepts for you against the orc throwing plays. I like how we took like safe throw. Well, I mean, I was going to say over accurate, but I guess why would you take accurate? Because that would makes him Agi 6 for throwing. He's already Agi 5. You don't need accurate. When do you orc long bomb?
Throwing long bombs, yeah, that's not really a problem.
So I guess the safe throw just makes the intercepts less likely when you do throw it. So
I mean, it's true that when orcs are throwing, it is messy often. So
yeah,
I don't like orc throwing, but if you're going to commit to it, I think safe throw isn't the worst skill you can take.
Well, especially since it's a normal, right? It's not like you could have taken dodge for that or something, right? Which probably would have been better.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
orc throwers are terrible pieces, so
that's just a normal. So like what he has block. The other option is like fend, right? He has block and kickoff return already. He rolled normals. Like his other option is fend, maybe, but I think safe throw makes sense, especially since it also helps against fumbles and like with Agi 5 and pass. Like, even when you try that thing, you're probably going to end up having it still in your hands anyway.
We were just talking about that, Brand. You don't really need accurate when you're Agi 5. Like, if you're throwing passes where Agi 6 is relevant,
you're playing orcs wrong.
You're playing orcs wrong, and also things have
gone horrible.
Off the rails. Yeah.
Well, I didn't listen, so that's my argument most of the time. It's great. But
the Blodge Guard. How did this player level so much? He's got 85 SPP and it has 0 kill skills. Dodge, guard, stand firm, tackle, diving tackle is a hell of a piece.
Because it has inflicted 48 injuries anyway?
No, injuries are any... Well, it's any armor break.
Okay, well, it's inflicted 4 Kaz.
It's only 4 Kaz. It's got 8...
It also has 14 touchdowns.
Oh, so it just scores all the time.
Yep.
It is the receiver, I guess.
You sure that's not diving catch? It's diving tackle? No, it's definitely diving tackle.
And then we've got a killer. I don't like giving frenzy to orc blitzers that are killers. I don't mind having a frenzy orc blitzer, but I don't think it works as well on the only killer because it means you're committing to a frenzy blitz a lot of the time because you can't blitz with Sylvester Stallone back into a rule of 5, right? You're just going to set up far enough back that's a GFI or 2, and that's a risk you're probably not willing to take. Also would leave like your best black orc exposed. So I don't love this frenzy pickup, but otherwise Kevin Sork bow is a great piece.
I still love Leark Neeson. Strength 5, break tackle, strip ball tackle is so much fun.
He's stupid as all hell.
And then the black orc core is pretty solid as well. You know, block on all of them at least. 3 of them have guard. Or 4 of them have guard. And then one's also got the stand firm and tackle to be like extra annoying. We might see a legend black orc, which is not something I can think we've seen. He recently replaced
Morgan Freeman, Morgan Freeman, and Leonardo Dork Caprio. That's not how people normally make that pun.
Leonardo DiCaprio
is a great kind of like pseudo blitzer.
My favorite is F this. I'm out of names though on the black orc. I give up on this theme. I stop.
It's very shooty. So he's lost a couple of good black orcs over the years, as one does,
But Sylvester Stallone might be a legend black orc, and I can't remember having seen one of those before. He's not that far away.
Fair.
28.
Yeah, good team, and that brings us to the end of 2A. We're free.
Hooray!
Dobby is a free elf. We'll see you guys next year.
Done forever. Okay, so that was our precap. We're not going to go through the teams in depth ever again. Now that we've all,
I hope you enjoyed the spotlight. It's only shade from now on.
We've seen them once, and since we're going to do most of the actual recapping from Rebel.net, because it turns out the stats are better than the in-game stats, because Cyanide is good at things. So we'll be able to see levels and injuries and stuff as they happen, so we can keep up with the teams while we're going over game results. So we're not going to go into depth for the teams again, but we thought it'd be fun to do a nice little recap and look at everybody's teams and where they came from. We're going to do our official sort of week 1 stream tomorrow. Normally what we do then is review the match results and then predict next week's matches, but since it's week 1, there won't be any results, ideally. So we'll just be doing our predictions.
I bet you $100 Fed is played by 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, probably. I don't want to take that bet, and not just because I don't particularly like gambling. because I think I would lose.
How are you just like the sweetest lamb of a person?
I don't know.
I don't like gambling.
Well, I mean, it's more so the math person in me that doesn't like it, right? It's like the expected value of this is negative, so why would I ever do it, right? Like it's
Yeah.
back to what we were talking about. We'll be back tomorrow to do like a just a prediction of the week after that, and then following that week, it'll be every Thursday where we review the results and predict the next week. We're gonna end things here. Thanks everybody for watching and hanging out for the first like long weird pre-cap thing. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're excited for the season and you're excited for our recaps and stuff. We will see you tomorrow, and until then, I'm in Steakmittens,
And I'm Shadorra.
and we will see you folks next time.